Greetings YouTube. I'm sure you, like I, have spent many a fretful hour wondering how you might convert a 5.1 special edition DVD into separate WAV files. Well, YouTube, worry no longer. So to begin, you're going to need a few items. The first is said disk. I'm going to be doing this process on a Mac. I have a separate Blu-ray drive that I use for the process.
We're also going to need some open source software. MakeMKV is a product that will rip the digital audio you need from the 5.1 disc. Next, we'll use MKV Tools to separate the audio file specifically from the digital information that's already been ripped. And finally, a product like Audacity can be used to import and play back the files individually. After all the software has been downloaded, run MakeMKV. It will identify the drive you've got attached to your machine. Click in this space here and MakeMKV will start to scan the disk to see exactly what's on it. MakeMKV has now identified the contents of the DVD, and you can see in some instances there are stereo recordings that we're not very interested in, but down here we've got a Dolby Digital 5.1 and a DTS 5.1 with a stereo one at the bottom there. So strictly speaking, I'm not interested in anything that isn't a 5.1 at this point. So I'm just going to deselect everything that I'm not interested in. And you can see that there's been a default directory here that's been chosen. I'm just going to change that directory to put it onto the desktop. And we'll extract. So now the extraction is complete. We have a file on the file system in the format of MKV. I'll just show that to you, which can be opened with a piece of software called VLC Player. It can also be opened with Plex, but for our purposes we're going to use another piece of software to process it further. MakeMKV has done its work. We're now moving to MKV Tools. If we open the file that we're interested in, go to the desktop, choose the file we just extracted, then we'll see we have two 5.1 surround tracks there. The first is an AC3, the second is a DTS. Let's go with the AC3 for now. And we can do extract selected tracks. That's completed, which has now left us with an AC3 file on the desktop. We can do the same for the DTS file. Select it, leave it as pass-through, extract it. Now we've been left with a DTS file on the file system. The next piece of the jigsaw is Audacity. Within Audacity, we can open a file, and Audacity will import files of type AC3. So we now have the two stereo front channels, the center channel, the low frequency channel and the 2 rear surround channels, all as separate WAV files. So now, if we go to File, Export, Export Multiple, we can now export each one of these channels as a separate WAV file. And Audacity will let us tag that information separately for each file. Before going about the business of doing separate exports. There we have it. So we can open those WAV files up now. I'm using a commercial product called Twisted Wave Lite, which I just think is quite a neat little wave editor for not too much money. And there we go, we've now got access to all of those separate files. So there is a slight gotcha with Audacity, which is that it may not behave the way you'd quite like it to with DTS or AC3 files without a slight change. If you go to Preferences and then down to Libraries, there is a version of the FFmpeg library that is required for Audacity to function correctly with AC3 or DTS files. However, follow the instructions associated and you should be fine. Now, one thing to bear in mind, if you're going to use any of the sounds that you've extracted for your own productions, you need to stay within international copyright law. So that's it. That's how to isolate your 5.1 surround discs into separate WAV files. So I hope that's been informative. Please, if you do intend to use any of the sounds that you get hold of using this method, please respect copyright law, and wish you all a very, very good day.